What's up, guys? Welcome back to the MSR Workshop. So I have a really special unboxing and review for you today. I think you'll like it, so stick around. So the product that we're going to take a look at is another rifle scope. And I know what you're saying, another rifle scope? This one is really cool. This is the Oneleaf NV400. It is a digital day and night vision scope. It's got a rangefinder. It has got a host of really cool features. So we're going to unbox this, take a look at it, and then get it out on the range to see what it can do. All right, so the NV400 is a digital day night vision scope. The range is 4 to 52 by 50. So it has a 13 times digital zoom. You have 7 different reticles that you can choose from. You can either do a first focal plane or you can do a second focal plane. You can change your reticle different colors. It does a whole heck of a lot of stuff, and I will show some of those descriptions up on the screen here real quick. But it has video recording 4K up to 120 frames per second, or to do 4K 60, 4K 30, 2K 30, or just 1080p 30. Night vision range is 1,300 feet or 437 yards. Digital zoom is a 13x. It has a built-in electronic compass. It has one-shot zeroing, which I'm really excited about. It has backlight buttons that I believe are motion sensitive, so when you tip your scope up to you, those buttons light up. Especially it's handy for night. Is picture within a picture mode. It has battery signal reversal alert, which is nice. It does come pre-installed with some very nice lithium batteries. It had 6 different profiles, so you can set up different ballistics with different calibers and have all that programmed in. 7 reticle options, 5 colors, 16:9 screen or 4:3 switching. It has a external HDMI port and it comes with a cable. It has USB-C charging, which also comes with a cable. Let's see what else it does. It has a ballistics calculator, so you can program in ballistics with it. It comes with a 64 gigabyte memory card. Like, what doesn't this thing come with? Let's just open this thing up and take a look and see what we've got. First off, you got a very nice looking little manual with a lens cleaning cloth. Starting off with, you have a full color manual, which seems to be very nicely done. Setting that aside, taking this off, in the top of this, it comes with your lithium battery charger. Next, it comes with 2 rubberized eyepiece cups, and they are not clip-on, they are actually threaded, which is really cool. Clip-on ones tend to come off. You have a snorkel style sunshade, because with digital night vision scopes, or any kind of night vision, you need to be able to stop down the light during the day. And night vision scopes tend to be fairly sensitive to light during the day, so this is a way to kind of cut down on the light on the internal sensor. Next, pulling the scope out itself, just taking a look over it, it is substantially heavy. So if you want a light packable rifle, this might not be the ideal thing for you. But the reason it's heavy is because it is chock full of features. I believe it's got 2 internal lithium batteries here, and you have 1 lithium battery on this cap here. So it comes with a Oneleaf branded 1900 milliamp battery, and let's see, this is an 18500 lithium battery. Right here on the side, it tells you your direction to install the battery. Now, if you have an 18650, which is the little bit longer version of these, they do include a taller cap. Now, one thing I might suggest is you have an illuminated IR light for your night vision, and that takes an 18650, which is the longer version. You might want to stick a longer version up here, because then if one battery goes dead on one thing and you need the other thing, the batteries can be swappable. If you use a short one up here, even though they provide you with it, if one battery goes dead and say your IR light, then it might be nice to have a spare battery up here that you can swap it with. Everything is made out of metal, quite heavy. You have a removable rear lens cap, which is not detached. Would have liked to seen an attached one, or one that it would fix on here, but that's okay. Now your front one is attached. It's not a flip open, but it does flip completely back. Now one really cool feature is, if you guys can see this, is this is your near and far focus. Now one huge thing that I've said before is your focus being on the end whenever you have a lens cap, it makes this thing move around like this. Well, they have thought of something really cool. They have made it so your focus does not affect your lens cap. So you can do the focusing and position your lens cap wherever you want it, whether it's on the top or the bottom or off to the side. Just kind of get that out of the way, even put it on the bottom, and then you have free range to move your focus in and out and not get in the way of your lens cap. So good job on you guys for that. Now this is the cap right here for some more goodies, and under this what you'll find is your connections and your charging port. So taking this off, right here is a little rubber seal for your pre-installed 64 gigabyte memory card. You have your USB-C charging. I'm glad they aren't still using the old style of USB charging. And then you have a micro HDMI cord. Micro HDMI cords are nice because then you can hook this up to a monitor or a TV or whatever you want. You can even hook this up to a monitor if you're doing bench rest shooting and want to see stuff. But cool thing about that is they do include a cord with that, because sometimes these micro USBs you have to kind of order. You can't just go to most stores. Not every store carries them. So very cool with that. But waterproof cap going on here, and then you do have a reset button. If for some reason you mess this thing up, you want to reset everything, you can just hold that button down, it'll reset everything. So putting the cap back on that, and there is a rubber gasket around it. Now you have a front diopter focus, and it seems to be quite smooth, not a lot of resistance. Same with the front focus. I have had problems where the front focus is extremely hard. This is very nice, and it makes it easy to focus one-handed. Some of those you have to grab so hard it just makes it almost impossible to do it one-handed when you're wanting to focus everything. So very good on that one. So setting that down. Oh, before I set that down, this is your rangefinder. Now the rangefinder is integrated into this. Now if you don't want the rangefinder, you can take it off. You take these two screws, and there is an electrical contact right here that you can remove the rangefinder. But it did come pre-installed, so we're going to go ahead and use that, and I'm excited to use a rangefinder. Next, they include scope rings with their little leaf symbol etched into the scope rings, so that is kind of cool. And on the top of the scope rings, you do have a Picatinny mount, which we're using to mount our IR light that is included in here. Next, buried in the box, we have our IR light, also pre-installed with a battery. And we have our 18650 lithium battery. And this one is a mystery with the milliamps, but that's okay, so long as it works. Looking at our IR light, we have 3 different illumination settings and a far and near focus. Now, during the day, even if you turn this on and shine it on something, you will not be able to see this. But if I turn it on, and sorry with the bright light, but it is illuminated. Just a minor tap here, low, medium, and a high beam. And it's LED indicated behind these. Now, without my spotlight for my recording, you'd be able to see these lit up. But you have a mount, which we will use to mount to the side, and this will attach to the front or the rear of one of these Picatinny rail scope rings. Very cool. And they include replacement O-rings for the seals on this, different sizes, so if that comes bad. Even includes a T-handle Allen key, which is really cool. I've never seen a T-style included in a package before. Really like this because then you can tighten stuff down instead of these really short ones. It makes it hard sometimes to tighten things down properly. Another bag of O-rings and both of your HDMI cords and your USB-C to standard USB charging cord. Making sure that is all that's in the box. That looks like it's it. So now that we've got everything kind of set out, let's go ahead and grab our rifle that we are going to install this in, and then maybe we can do some recording and kind of take a look at some of these settings on screen. So we are going to go through the menus. Hopefully you can see all of this. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to hold down your top button. Keep holding it until you pop up with all your menus. So the first thing on your menu is your reticle type. To select it, just click your button once, and now you can go through all of the different reticles. To select one, you would click on it, and then to exit out of the menu, you would just do a long press. So we're going to go back to the top one, select that one because that's the one I like right now. Next is we are going to do our one-shot zero. So if you can see the red cross on the screen, you're going to shoot, and once you've shot, then you are going to change your X and Y axis. So your white arrow is where you shot, or where you think you shot, and the red arrow is where actually your point of impact actually was. So to move to the Y axis, you would just click down once, and you can go up and down until you get your crosshairs one lined up where you thought you shot and where it actually shot. And to save it, you would hit the camera record button. Now it's going to say saved failed because I don't want to save that because I've already got that set up. Next, you can change your scope settings manually, and I accidentally skipped the reticle color, but we'll go to that next. So X and Y axis, you can change that manually. Reticle colors, you have white, red, green, blue, and black. Here is where you would input all of your ballistic parameters. So your ballistic group, bullet weight in grains, velocity, where you're zeroing it to, and it will calculate some of this for you. So once you've done your zero and you're using your rangefinder, it's going to put that in here already. Now you can measure your sight height, shooting angle, windage, velocity. If you're shooting on a windy day, it's going to help calculate everything. Altitude, temperature, barometric pressure, relative humidity, and I think of those are all the parameters you can put in there. And then you have ballistic groups. You can set multiple groups with those if you want. You can do first focal plane or second focal plane. Now, second focal plane is interesting because obviously your crosshairs don't change with the second focal plane. But being this is a digital scope, your first focal plane is nice because when you zoom in, yes, your crosshairs get larger, but they don't get larger in the sense that the lines get much chunkier. They do just a tiny bit, but not very much. So for all practical intents purposes, first focal plane actually works quite well. So let's go back here. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So we're zooming in quite a bit here. This is just a pillow about 5 feet away. And as you can see, your lines don't get hugely overly large. So that does make it nice that you can see a little bit better staying on that. All right, we're going to go to the range marker align. So this is where you would align your IR rangefinder. So whenever you turn it on, you're going to see a little flashing mark. And that's where it's initially set up when you turn your scope on. Now you have that little green square. That is where your point of impact should be. So to do that, first off, you are going to turn your rangefinder on. Then you're going to go into your menus and go to this screen here, and then you would start using, same with your windage elevation, all of those settings. You are going to adjust it that way. ISO sensitivity, right now I'm leaving that to auto, but this is where your light exposure comes in. We have our units of measure, so yards or meters. Your screen aspect ratio, 16:9, and that is going to be when you're recording. Movie mode, 4K 30. It does up to 4K 120. Now they do say when you're doing any kind of filming at night, you want to leave it on 4K 30. I bumped it up to 4K 60 just to check it, and you do get a fair amount of flicker because your faster frames per second tends to let a little bit less light in. So the more light that you can get to your exposure, the higher frames per second that you can do. So if you're out on a bright day, 4K 120 actually should be very nice. Let's just kind of see what 4K 120 looks like. So I'm using fluorescent light, so I'm going to get a little bit of distortion on that. Let's see, 4K 60. And let's look at 4K 30. So 4K 30, I'm not getting the refresh from the fluorescent lights. Actually, not fluorescent lights, LED. LED bulbs have a flicker at a high frame rate. If you're taking photos, you can set your photos and you can go up to 48 megapixels. Movie clip time. You can set the time of how many minutes you want to record. You can do an auto record. And what it does is it starts your recording maybe a few seconds before your shot and then a few seconds after. It has built-in microphone and it actually does pretty good. You've got auto exposure. You've got multi-shot metering, so it takes light readings from different points. And then you can set your brightness, your contrast, your saturation, and then also your magnification. So your magnification, you can set it in 0.2 increments or 1x increments. I don't know why you would want to set it in 0.2 because that's a lot of turning if you want to zoom in on something. Backlight button, you can turn that on or off. LCD brightness, and that is the LCD looking through the lens. Picture within a picture. You have a day, night mode, and a starry setting. Starry is when you have ambient light around you, say like lamps from outside houses, or it's just not super dark outside. And then night mode is full, complete darkness. Now you can use the night mode even with ambient light around. It just actually is going to give you a little bit better picture because the more light that you can get in, obviously your exposure is going to be better. Display icons, I'm not sure exactly what that is, but that's turned off right now. Your widgets, those are the things at the bottom of the screen that tells you what's being used and not. Then you have a compass, as well as a gyroscope calibration. And we're going to exit out of this screen. Next, we have a time and date stamp. Date format, month, day, year is what I have this. We have a clock. And then you can format your SD card internally, so you don't have to take it out, put it in a computer. Version and card info, and then you just have a full reset for everything. To exit out of here, you'd push a long press, and that is going to exit you back out. Now you can see at the bottom of the screen my little widgets. You can see we're in day mode. We can see we're in ballistics setting 1. Now if your thing disappears, just tap your top of your screen or your button once. Brightness to 10, SD card I have 92% left, and then it's going to give me my little battery indicator, also telling me that I'm shooting in 4K 30 frames per second. Also, you do have a level, and I am setting this on something, so if I tip it, you can see the numbers change on the right side of the screen. That's telling me that my gun is not being held perfectly level. Now, interestingly enough, the crosshairs don't change if it's not level. So that's something to pay attention to. So if you forget to look at your level, you're going to see your crosshairs perfectly leveled. But in reality, you could be shooting at a cant, which could affect your ballistic trajectory and how accurate you are. Now, if I turn the gun, and I may not be turning it enough, but the very top compass should change. I really don't care if there's a compass on here. I don't know what I would ever need to use it for unless I'm stranded and I don't have another way to check which direction I'm going. But yep, it's there if you want it. So let's exit out of this and go do some night viewing and see what kind of resolution we get. Alright guys, so we are about 19 yards away. Let's double check with our rangefinder. Yep, 19.1. Turn that back off. So we are going to do a little shooting. I've done my one-shot 0, but then I forgot. I didn't realize that I had completely tightened down my scope rings. So we'll see what we can do. I am about 9x here. Alright, looks pretty good. I probably could make a little bit of an adjustment on the one-shot 0, which I may do off camera, and we'll come right back and try it again. So let's try a 5-shot group with this being dialed in. One. A little bit of wind. Five. Let's do one more next to it. That looks pretty right on to me.
Go check.
So this is my 5-shot group here. So you can see how tiny this little hole is. So I would call that very dialed in. Very happy with the results. Very happy with the scope. So here we're going to do some recording. If any of you have seen my other videos, this is a power line in my neighbor's backyard. And let's range find it and see what we're kind of talking about. 26 yards. Up at the top, we've got 27 yards. That one over there. .66 yards. And we'll turn that off. There we go. So right now we are recording just on the day mode. So not too bad, still pretty grainy. I've got the little cover on. Let's open it up and get some more light in here. So just took the snorkel cover off. Let's zoom in here, see if we can focus a little bit better. So that's probably as good as we're going to focus right now. So let's put the snorkel cover back on. And switch to our first night mode. And this is going to be what's called starlight mode. And if you can see, you can actually see the stars better than with the naked eye. It's kind of cruddy weather out right now. Let's see if we can focus this just a hair more. So pretty grainy right now, but still very visible. Let's get some more light here. So graininess went away. I had the little snorkel cap on. Once again, there's my range of 28 yards. So that actually looks not too bad. Okay, let's zoom in a bit. So it gets grainy, but you can definitely, hit something with this. You're not going to see a huge amount of detail. But that's zoomed all the way back out. And auto exposure is doing pretty good to keep up. Now let's switch to our next mode, which is our night mode. So definitely a different look, but this one you can see very good as well. So 40 yards over there. That looks pretty good. Let's zoom in there. And this is all with the IR light off. Now let's turn the IR light on. And that's pretty sweet. So let's try and see if I focus the beam. And now we're back to flood. And that is great quality. So you can see some of the detail in the wood up there, just barely on the telephone pole. That's zoomed into 7 power. "100 yards for that third telephone pole over there. Let's zoom in. But there is zoomed back all the way. Alright guys, let's go back inside. Alright guys, that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a long video, but there was so much to cover in this video. This scope can really do everything, and I am really grateful and glad that they sent it to me, because it's something that I had wanted to try for a long time. So the next thing you guys might be asking yourself, is there anything I don't like about the scope? I really liked all the things that it could do. I liked it was packed full of features. But is there anything that I could have Oneleaf do a little bit differently? So there's a couple, just a little couple tiny things. Now for the price, you really can't beat this scope. So there's two little annoying things. One, it actually doesn't come with a true lens cap on the end. It means it doesn't completely cover the end of the cap. Even with the snorkel on the end, you still have a little place that liquid can get in if, say, it was wet outside. So some form of actual scope cap or cover to put on the end so you can't get anything in it would be a nice little touch. The next thing is the HDMI cable. Now, I was glad that they included it, but looking closer at it, you have an HDMI micro on one end and then an HDMI mini on the other thing. I don't know of any devices really that take an HDMI mini plug on the other side. So I would say HDMI micro to HDMI full size. Then you can plug it into a whole host of different devices. So that might be one little thing. Maybe within the software, it would be cool if you could turn on and off recording with the heads-up display. So if I wanted to be able to record and go through some of these features with you instead of having to screen record, that would be kind of cool. But other than that, there is really not much else that I can think of. You know, there is one other thing. So on the rangefinder, you do have a built-in laser. So you can have a laser pointer as well, but you actually have to click through the settings to find it and turn the laser on and or turn it off. So maybe having a button specifically on the side of the rangefinder to, say, turn the laser on and off. I'm sure that would be, something that would be simple to fix, just so you don't have to go through actual menu settings to turn it on and off. Other than that, that's really all I can think of at this time. If you want to know how to get this guy right now, you check out my link in the description below. It'll get you 10% off using my product code on any of the Oneleaf products that they currently carry. But if you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, if I didn't cover something on this, be sure and leave those below. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button because it really helps the channel out and gets me more products like this to test for you guys. Until next time, thanks again.